Hello there, Kung Fu Cowboy here. And I think this is episode 9 of the Kung Fu Cowboy podcast. But at any rate, I'm starting over again, or kind of trying to get a flow going here. It's 2024, and it's actually June of 2024. And I've been doing all kinds of stuff. I've been off the street for 4 years. I'm subsidized, so I'm actually homeless because I can't afford the place I'm in. If the Republicans have their way, I'll be back on the street, but let's hope they don't. But anyway, thank you to the Democrats who are making sure that I actually have a house now. But anyway, the reason I'm doing this podcast is to update you on Kung Fu Cowboy. I've been doing a heck of a lot. Well, I'm always doing a lot, but you probably don't know anything about it. So I've decided that I'm watching all these podcasts to see what's going on. So maybe if I do some podcasts, maybe people will start to take an interest in what's going on in my world. Okay? And my world of the Kung Fu Cowboy. Now, I've got 8 podcasts. You can believe when I was homeless, I started 8 podcasts, and I did 8 of each of them. That's 64 podcasts. That was a lot of work. Nothing happened. Nothing went anywhere. And anyway. The different topics that I of course have are American Zen, which did an 8-level spiritual journey from 1991 until 2014. That was the American Zen spiritual journey of 8 levels, 8 albums, more than 8 books, like about 20 books, but all these books that I wrote during that time. And then all the music kind of reflected the spiritual journey until I finally graduated on Memorial Day. That was Nirvana. The way I'd planned it out in 1991 is I said, I'm going to figure out what Nirvana is. Well, on 2014 on Memorial Day, Nirvana appeared. So that album's going to be released soon. In fact, I've been mixing it and starting to do some things with it. Well, you'll see. Anyway, let's stick to the topic here. I got so much to tell you about. In fact, the 6 years that I was homeless, I was always recording on my little 4-track recorder. It's a digital recorder, so it was the same quality as a recording studio, but it was a little 4-track recorder, the kind you use for movie locations when you go out and record audio for movies and stuff. That's what I was using as a Zoom H4N, I think is the model number. They've got newer models, but anyway, the point being is, Kung Fu Cowboy here, and I'm going to be pumping out a lot of music. Well, I actually am. I've got 32. I just released another one last night. I released 32 singles in 1 month. 32 songs. So what I've done is I've spaced them out over the next 2 years. Because I got a new distributor, and that distributor allows me to release these singles whenever I want, and so I'm kind of excited. So anyway, I got 32 singles lined up. I've been playing my. But anyway, let's start at the beginning. The Kung Fu Cow. Oh, actually, I got a notebook over here, but let's talk about the first one. The first one is Scorpion Resurrection, the title song of the first Kung Fu Cowboy album, which was actually on the End of the Line album, number 7 by American Zen. And so what I did was I took those original tracks and then I just tried to put trombones on them. And then I was going to release it like 4 or 3 years ago. And then I got cancer and I had to spend a year in chemotherapy and then kind of a year recovering. And then I'm back on my feet. And of course, I've got new interests. I've got new things going and I'm trying to pick up the slack here. So here we go. This is a song that I actually completed about 3 years ago. And I've just released it at the end of my chemotherapy, but I'm hoping these podcasts will make a difference in my popularity because people don't seem to be finding my music accidentally in Spotify and iTunes. Nobody's promoting me. So I'm just on a shelf and the world is oblivious to me. So anyway, here we go. Scorpion Resurrection. Let's talk about one single at a time. So this Scorpion Resurrection, what is it? Well, it's actually several things. The original song was written when I actually got bitten by a scorpion. I was working as a stagehand back in 2012, 13. 2013, maybe somewhere around there. Maybe it was 2013. Yeah, I think it was 2012 because it lapsed into 2013. It was crossover to those 2 years. Because anyway, I was working as a stagehand near the Mexican border in an open air amphitheater. Really cool little place. It's changed names a couple of times. I have no idea what it's called now. Back then it was called something, and then it got sold to something else, and that was years ago. I lost track of it. So anyway, I was working at that amphitheater, and of course I have to lay out all the wires and everything, and we're putting all the speakers up, and I build all the stage stuff. It depends. Sometimes I'm doing sound, sometimes I'm doing videos, sometimes I'm just whatever they needed. I showed up. The hourly wage was, actually, it's not the same. When I worked in video production and stuff, you get a couple more dollars an hour because, you obviously know more. And those were contested jobs to get, so those were hard to get. And but anyway, we'll maybe I'll tell the stagehand story sometime because they were really fun. I was working for all kinds of superstars and stuff like that, Motley Crue and stuff like that. But anyway, the song "Scorpion Resurrection" started because I got stung in the neck by a scorpion, a little tan scorpion, which is supposed to be the most poisonous of them all. And boy, I had side effects. I still got side effects from it. But anyway, I lived, obviously, but my body swelled up and I couldn't do anything. And I tried to go back to work sooner I won't get into all the people I want to complain about. But I went back to work too soon and I was still kind of swollen, and that caused me to have muscle injuries because, my body was all swollen. I'm trying to work an 8-10 hour shift. It was painful. I was limping around. I was limping for months. And I think that I wouldn't have been limping if I would have just stayed home for another month or so, but my dad didn't like that idea. Anyway, my family always says, just go get a job. Like I said, just a couple of years ago, even when I think I was even doing my chemotherapy, and they go, can't you get a job? It's like my family is very low level mentality. They've never supported my record company, my music publishing company, my kung fu school. They don't even talk to my kids. But they've never read my books. They've never listened to my music, my movies. They don't care anything about anything. As long as you got a job and you're making enough money, that's all they care about. I have a very limited mentality in my family. So that's what I've been kind of working against my entire life. I've been trying to make these people happy by trying to act like a slave. And unfortunately, I should have never even tried. I should have just never even bothered trying to make my family happy. Making them happy is the worst thing I could ever do. Anyway, the Kung Fu Cowboy podcast here. Hello! Let's see if I can do this on a regular basis. So I tried to set it up in an easy way that I can kind of like turn the lights on. I got a light there and a light there and a light there. And I marked out my places here so I can kind of hopefully get a little consistency here. So hello and welcome to the first of my new series of Kung Fu Cowboy podcasts. So let's, how long has it been? I can see my counter. It's been 8 minutes. So let's wrap this up with a first Kung Fu Cowboy single. I'm making my first album. Actually, I kind of like made my first album, and the cancer came, and then the chemotherapy. And I didn't want to do any music in that time because I didn't want my music to have that flavor. I didn't want to hear my music and then think of the chemotherapy, because that's what my music is. My music is kind of like a time capsule. When I listen to a song that I did back in the 70s or 80s, I remember that scene. I can remember the people, the picture, the where I was, and the love, romantic interest. So they're always kind of like little pieces of my reality. So I was really trying hard not to have any pieces of reality to take me back to that horrible year of chemotherapy and cancer. Doctor gave me 2 months or 2 years to live. That's what he said. He goes, I had somebody just like you this last year. And he was all happy and energetic just like you, and he only lived 2 months. So that's it. The most he could guarantee me was 2 months. He goes, but yours hasn't gotten into your liver quite much yet, so maybe you can go 2 years. But anyway, the chemotherapy and the cancer, I've been almost 3 years now cancer-free, so that's a really good, so I think I'm cancer-free. Yay! They say after 3 years you can say that. So anyway, cancer-free coyote here. Anyway, Scorpion Resurrection. I'm not going to tell you. I'll tell you the story about the original making of that, because that was during the American Zen period, and that song is on the American Zen album that I released in 2014, the year after it happened, because I wrote the songs in like 2013, and then I recorded them in 2014 in my truck, because I was homeless for like 6 years, and then I released them in a BANDCAMP. You can go to BANDCAMP.com, and I did a really big expose on the album and pictures of me, my portable home and the story and lyrics of all the songs on the record. It's a really good thing. And how many albums did I sell at BANDCAMP? Well, one. 6 years later, I went in and bought one album just to make sure it wasn't broken. It's like, why didn't anybody buy anything? And it worked, but anyway, that didn't work for me. Maybe BANDCAMP can work for you, but I've been there for 10 years, and other than the one album I bought, I don't think I've sold a single album. In fact, because I didn't meet that royalty threshold, I probably haven't even got my own royalties from my own purchase of the album, so I've received zero money from BANDCAMP, I think. But anyway, getting back to this song, Scorpion Resurrection, I just released a single. When I was a kid, I played trombone, and that's a whole story in itself. Why did I want to play trombones? And I look forward to kind of like sharing that story with you. It means something to me, and it actually has some significance. But I ended up having to give up a trombone, and about 20 years ago, I finally gave up because I had some beautiful trombones. I had two tenor trombones and a bass trombone, but I ended up giving them up because every time I played them, I couldn't play the flute. Seriously, for at least 3 days. Because when you put your mouth in that mouthpiece, you have to make that sound like a duck. Actually, you said a fart. But anyway, that's what you're doing when you're playing trombone. You're farting. No, but you're making a buzzing noise, and then it gets amplified because you're going into a horn, literally, and that makes it louder. And each one has a different flavor: a trumpet, or a cornet, or a trombone, or a bass trombone. The bass trombone has just got more loops in it. It's a longer, bigger horn. So anyway. I had to sell them all. I just finally had to get rid of them because I loved playing trombone, but when I'd play it, then I couldn't play the flute, and I decided the flute was more important. So I sold them. I got rid of them just so I wouldn't be tempted to ever play them again. Oh yeah, because what it does is, like I was trying to say, when you put your mouth into that cup, they call it a cup. It's your lips kind of like conform to that, and so they would get swollen, from going like this and then blowing, making that buzzing noise. My lips swell a little bit, which is no big deal. But when I go to play flute, the slightest bit of a swollen lip is like means I can't control my embouchure. Embouchure is what I say. Embouchure. I think it's a French word. But anyway, it has to do with your lip tension and shape. And that's how you make your high notes. If you squeeze it tighter in a trombone, or you get a different range. But in a flute, what you're doing is you're blowing wind. It's a whole different thing. You have to control this wind that's going over this hole, and the hole splits the wind, and that's what creates the music. It's like a bottle. If you blow across a bottle, it splits the wind and creates that whistling noise. But open bottle top. So anyway, the point being is that I gave up trombones for the flute. So when I moved into this place, thank you, Section 8. When I moved into here, in fact, let's buy my records. And then I can pay my own rent and move to a nicer neighborhood. Anyway, I can tell stories about this neighborhood I'm in. Seriously, it's a little Section 8 village, and there's knifings and shootings and stabbing, and break-ins all around me because of my neighbors. Anyway, we could talk about the homeless life. I'm trying not to talk about the homeless life. I spent 6 years and nobody cared. So anyway, let's just leave my decade of homelessness behind and talk about the future and where I'm at now. Okay, so Scorpion Resurrection is me with trombones. I played trombones, and then when I got my computer, I discovered, I didn't know this because I didn't know anybody, I've never known anybody who did this. Nobody. I still don't know anybody who does this. And what I bought, I was always using Pro Tools, and you can't use it in Pro Tools. You have to use what's called a DAW, a digital audio workstation or something. Anyway, as opposed to, a digital recorder. It's got to have the ability to do other things. And so I had to give up Pro Tools and move over to Logic. And Logic is it's similar but different, but it's geared towards sampling and, anyway, it's what I'm using it for is what we'll talk about. You can use it for other things. I've never been into sampling. I thought sampling was wrong. I'm a player. When you hear me playing, I don't even like to cut and paste. I don't even like to take a vocal, la, 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 and then just post it into, cut and paste it in all the choruses. I don't do that. I try to sing every chorus, even the background vocal is different. If I'm playing a guitar riff, I don't just take the guitar riff and then loop it. And by the way, my music's on all kinds of famous rap records. I don't know which one, but when I was in the studio, they had me play a whole bunch of riffs, and then I listed they chop them up into little pieces, and then these rap artists took them, famous rap artists. I was in a professional recording studio, and I was a second engineer when I was homeless. I actually got this job for a while. That's a whole story. But anyway. And during that time, the only people that were in there, because the owner was a rap artist of the studio, so all the clients were all rap artists. So for 6 months, I got to see all of the rap artists that used that Shaka Khan studio. He had purchased it from Shaka Khan, and that's the studio that I'm talking about right now. But anyway, I was a second engineer, and actually, I was a studio manager. So the guy who owned it could leave, and I could just stay there and, until 2, 3 in the morning when people left, and then I go sleep in my car. And so I was able to kind of help him out, and then he gave me free studio time. I don't think I ever got a penny from the guy, but I did get studio time. So that's the whole story in itself. But anyway, Scorpion Resurrection. Trying to stay on topic here. That song was. What a history that song has. Anyway, gosh, I could spend hours just talking about the history and the things of that song and what's happened since I wrote it. But here it is. It's become the theme song. I've reorganized the songs from American Zen, put trombones on them, tried to make a fast kickstart for my career 4 years ago, and then I got the cancer. So I didn't release it, and I didn't quite finish it. I released a couple of songs, and this was one of them, Scorpion Resurrection. So what I'm doing is, okay, I get my computer, I move over to Logic, and now I'm in Logic Pro, this audio program you can use on computer. So with this computer, I was able to get another program that can work within it called Contact, Konkaakt. K's in there, I think, Contact. And this is a sampling company. It's a company that works in digital samples. And then there's all these companies all around the world who make samples, and then they conform them to the Contact. And then through this Contact program, I can access all of these samples, real literal samples, people playing violins, recordings of them, and then assemble them and then use them to make music. So anyway, I went around and I found these trombone things that you probably wouldn't even be able to find. I think that the guy I talked to him about it, and he's like, oh, I'm not even in this business anymore. So I got some things that you might not even be able to get anymore. But I found these trombones that I liked. And then I found some other trombones from another company that I like. And then I found some bass trombones from another company. And then I got these couple of libraries, and there's trombones in there, but I haven't even really used those because I wanted my special trombones that sound different from everybody. And anyway, I took these, I can play these trombones, and I had to get a keyboard. I didn't have a keyboard, and thanks to my mom. When I moved in here, she got me a piano, and that was really cool. And so anyway, I got a Yamaha P125, not realizing when I first got it that I was even going to be able to use it as my controller. This all happened in the first year or two. So anyway, I can use this piano, and then I'm playing trombones on my piano. So I'm not messing up my embouchure. So here we go. And okay, so we have to speed now. Okay, so Scorpion Resurrection was recorded for the 7th American Zen album called End of the Line. It's the first Kung Fu Cowboy album because I've added a whole bunch of trombones and I've remixed it and released it as a single. When I finally release the album, I'm going to give everything some fine tuning and improve them even more. But because I'm still learning how to use this software and these samples and all this and the mixing, and I don't have speakers. I have to use headphones. And so, there's all kinds of limitations I'm working with, but still no excuses. I have no excuses now. I feel like I know that I can make a professional product, and the things that are in my dreams and in my imagination, I have the ability to create. It's just a matter of mastering the technology between my visions and my imagination and creativity and the final product. And the technology in between is what I'm mastering right now. So anyway, Scorpion Resurrection represents the first of my endeavors there. And that's the first single of Kung Fu Cowboy. Go find it. It's been out for a couple of years. And let's leave it at that. And then I'll talk to you about the next single that I put out. Anyway, Kung Fu Cowboy here. And I will see you soonly. Oh, by the way, you'll notice that when I actually perform, I do the Lohan salute. Since I'm not standing, I feel like this is a little more appropriate. but I'm actually a disciple of the Shaolin temple. So the Lohan salute is really my favorite salute. That's my personal one. But I don't let my students use it. Well, see you in the next video. I mean podcast.
I got a dime. You got a family, wish I had mine. You got a home, committing a crime. I'm sleeping on the street, in my car in the cold and heat. Part-time job's all I find, searching for my peace of mind. Sleeping with the stars. We're not homeless, we have cars. Shaolin with Tai Chi youth, a playground in Atlantis. The Coyote clan was a wife and 2 kids, but now their religion's singing with me for kids. No, I'm not blaming the economy, done shaming those who deserted me. I got resentment for some relatives who failed to help or offer a place to live. Sleeping with the stars. We're not homeless, we have cars. Scorpion resurrection. Now I see the blessing of what could have been much worse. If I'd let them support me, their advice would be my curse. Parents want peace of mind when they go to bed each night. So for their security, they know what's right. See how much I was paid. I haven't lived my life for money. I've been singing songs and writing poetry. I'm a man of multiple identities, so don't think you ever see all of me. I am who I want to be. Can you stay the same? Are you really free? Sleeping with the stars. We're not homeless, we have cars. My scorpion